Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Dark Souls 3 OST reaction. And strangely, considering that we spent the last video talking about the Demon Prince, which you encounter much later on. In fact, you encounter him at almost the end of the first part of the Ring City DLC. We are actually going to travel a little bit further back in time, all the way to the Smoldering Lake area, which is in Dark Souls 3, and you encounter what is probably one of the more underrated bosses of the series. I quite like the old Demon King because, first of all, you fight him in an area basically surrounded by the corpses of Asylum demons, Capra demons, Centipede demons. You fight this guy basically surrounded by nothing but the dead legions of years gone by. And this is where, once you even enter this arena, the Demon King just sort of lays there crumpled as though already long dead. And he's just sort of reanimated by what? It's hard to say, whether it's by the undead curse or whether he was just sort of brought back for the purposes of stopping whatever it is we came for, because you don't really have to kill this boss to succeed. It's completely optional. There's nothing really here that you desperately need. Mind you, with that being said, this is also the place where you can find Solaire transformed into a worm, and well, now basically you just fight this thing more or less. And whilst the Demon King does have, the old Demon King has some moves that we see later on, specifically with the Demon Prince, it's also worth noting that the music for this also gets overlooked far too easily, because it plays almost kind of like the Asylum Demon and the Taurus Demon from the first game, except it's more a little bit more dramatic because it's played with heavy piano keys. And well, considering that we spent a lot of time discussing about plunging into hell with the Demon Prince last time, let's see how it compares against its dad. So here we go. And yeah, here we go. You know how I was mentioning before about how this arena is coated with corpses and the king is just sort of like lying half dead? It sends out a very clear message. It's possibly the very last of its kind. Why not just leave it peacefully to die on its own? And can you hear that, like the faint ringing of an echo in the background? And that sort of echoing like erupts all throughout this fight, and I think for very good reasons. Because when you think about it, like I said again, it's maybe even just the crying out of all those that have died in its past. It doesn't really, and that's the thing that's kind of like curious with a lot of like demons from the series, because when you think about it, from going as far back as, let's say, the ceaseless discharge from the first game, or even to any of the games, you get the impression that perhaps these demons hate their own existence, that they are completely accursed to the tortures and pains that have been inflicted upon them. Perhaps maybe in some way they were just ordinary creatures, ordinary humans, and then got afflicted and mutated in some way. In fact, basically, they are From Software's version of mutants, but not the kind of things like, you know, you'd see in X-Men, but we're talking about things that should not be and things that never wanted to be. Bear in mind, this is a series you can probably get a lot of understand the knowledge of why they're in so much pain. Remember, the ceaseless discharge literally leaps at you, and you just hit him a few times in his arm, and he will fall to his death. And it's again in that sort of series of, like, you know, storytelling is very, very unique to the series, because bear in mind, once you get like the Demon King to about like 1/20th of his health, he will just limp and just sort of like lay on his staff and just sort of will just like effortlessly just try to lift. He's basically dead, and it makes you kind of wonder, well, are you supposed to feel good about killing this thing? Did it really deserve for it to be disturbed, so to speak? I mean, you don't really gain any progression out of this. You just gain a couple of souls, but was it really worth it? Well, you tell me. And with all that being said and done, I hope all of you guys enjoy this reaction to the old Demon King OST, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.